Well, good morning. Brother Mike here, coming to you with Holy Hunkerdown 9.0. And let me just tell you, next week, we're not going to have Holy Hunkerdown anymore. We're going to have Holy Heyday because we're going to be back to church as normal. So I want to talk to us today about habits. Habits are those things that we often we develop without even thinking about it. It's like it becomes a part of our daily or weekly routine. It's something that we do. In fact, Merriam-Webster Dictionary says that a habit is a settled tendency. It's our usual manner of behavior. And sometimes we develop good habits, almost always not by accident, I will add. And sometimes we develop bad habits. But my question today is this: what does the Bible say to us about habits? Actually, it says a whole lot about our expected behavior, but our Bibles don't say just a whole lot about habits. In fact, I did an exhaustive research this morning about the word habit in our Bibles, and it's not there very often. In fact, Exodus 21 talks about how to handle a person who has an ox that's in the habit of goring people. In Numbers, Balaam's donkey speaks to Balaam and says, is it my habit to treat you this way? And then Hebrews 10:25 tells us this. It says, don't give up the habit of meeting together as some are prone to do. Instead, encourage one another. But for the most part, our Bibles they're pretty silent about the word habit. But our Bibles do speak a lot to us about the meaning of the word habit. I want to remind us all that the goal of Christian life is transformation. Listen to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. So the implication here is this exchanging our old way of thinking, conformed to this age, for our new way of thinking, being transformed in our minds by renewing our minds. And another way that we might think about is that we need to stop worrying and stop trusting. That's a habit we need to develop. That this requires a change of our attitudes and our beliefs. Now, in Matthew 6, beginning in chapter 25 and following, Jesus talks to us and he tells us there to stop worrying about 5 things. He says, don't worry about your life. Don't worry about what we will eat, what we will drink, our body, or what instead we are to worry about those things. Instead of worrying about those things, he tells us, hey, go outside, look at the birds, watch the flowers. You won't see them worrying about a single thing, and God takes care of them. Don't you know, Jesus says, that you are more valuable than a sparrow? Don't you know that you're more valuable to God than a periwinkle? So for us to stop worrying, it requires that we develop the habit of trusting in a loving and a gracious God who takes care of his children. So let me talk to us now about this habit we've been missing out on. It's the habit of meeting together as God's people in God's place of worship. In our case, the church. We've been out of the habit for a long time. Last night, I met with some of our ushers to train them for Sunday. And one of them told me this incredible story about their daughter. You see, when she was young and they were growing up, their daughter, they lived with their in-laws in Cedar Creek, Texas. And their daughter considered that to be her home. And when they moved to Whitesboro, after a few weeks, they went back to visit their in-laws in Cedar Creek. And this daughter ran up to the door, almost trembling, and she just shook. And she said, home, home. And this usher last night, that's going to be helping us this Sunday, said these words to me. She said, that's how I felt when I walked in the doors of First Baptist Church tonight for this training. Home. I'm home. So I'm asking you today, come home. Make a habit of being in church and start this Sunday, May 17th at 10:30 a.m. It won't take long till you're back in the habit, a good habit, a great habit, not even really a habit. We'll be back in line with what God intends for his children, for us to come together and to be together to worship him every Sunday to celebrate the life we have in Him. So I'll see you Sunday as we start this good habit back together. And remember the words of Hebrews 10, verse 24 and 25. And let us consider how to stir up one another toward love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. Be blessed. I'll see you Sunday as together we start this new habit.